and I am here with Brian. Brian's at the studio in Carson City, the Fitness for 10. And we're going to talk today about exercising and youth, kids exercising. So if you want to get a hold of me, you can get me at stevemain.com. Brian, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me this morning. This is a great topic.
Yeah, so we were just talking before we turned this on about kids and what we used to be, and we both sound like our parents. I think every parent does that, and they always say kids aren't the same today, and here we are saying it. Um, Exercise, and we talked about the food is not the same. There's more preservatives, more junk in food, more probably junk in the air. Environmental situation probably isn't quite as healthy as it was when we were in grade school. But you know what? I drank Coke when I was a kid. I ate sugar. I did. But the one difference was I was probably burning 4,000 calories a day just with my activity. Video games didn't come along until, I don't know, I was in maybe junior high, and that was, just Pac-Man and little stuff that wasn't like today. So if we wanted to do something, we had to go outside, ride our bikes, play baseball, throw stuff, three flies up. So I know that you're very interested in exercise and the youth programs or so. So what are your initial thoughts on kids and exercising?
Hey, I think for kids, uh, it's a learned process. It has to be shown to them. And it's so important. We all know, what are we kidding ourselves? We all know the importance of fitness and health and exercise and what it does for your body. And, we've kind of, in my opinion, we've kind of forgotten a little bit about, making sure the kids get their 60 minutes of activity a day, whether it be riding the bike or out playing or climbing trees or whatever kids do today, right? Um, and I think as a group, I think we can really have a great conversation about this because there's so many avenues for kids. You know, uh, in our facilities, we can help them out. In moms and dads at home can help them out. And to do a physical program for your kid of some kind of activity doesn't cost you anything. It's free. You can do this in your backyard, things like that. So, we have to get back to remembering for our kids that, hey, 60 minutes a day of activity needs to be around. We have to find a way to get it there. Now, I'm not talking about taking your toddlers out. I'm talking about your kids as they're getting older, getting into school. The days of our old PE classes where we always had them around, we were always getting that activity. I think in society that's changed, and it's become the norm to where we've moved away from that. That's not a dig on anything. It's just the way the world is. And so as private groups, I think we can bring this back. I think we have that option because you got to remember our kids. Now they're going to exercise differently, and when you look at some of the recommendations like the National Association for Sports and Physical Education, for instance, they're going to tell you that kids need 60 minutes a day of something, even at 5 to 12 years old. Now, are you going to have your kid in here at 5 years old bench pressing? No, but there's things we can do. Just dancing with your children, if you will, or playing kickball in the backyard. Those are simple things. But for us as coaches and trainers, we can help out as they're getting a little bit older and you want to look at some of the things we're doing. We can bring a different approach to it for you. But you have to understand a few things that kids aren't us either. Their bodies don't work the same. We don't want to go into fitness and exercise for our children as if my kid's going to play baseball and that's the way we should train them to be a baseball player, or my kid is a basketball player, so we want to train them in a basketball environment. We have to remember that the body and the focus for children needs to be their movement. and their development of movement. The planes of motion, if you will, forward and back, circular, rotational, side to side, the movement of that body, full ranges of motion. Proprioception, I believe, is one of the big words we can try to use today. Well, at least I've tried. You probably understand that better than I do. But we have to think of that when we develop whatever we're going to do for our children. An example is when Fitness for 10 was partnered with one of the groups here in Reno, or the Parkway Club that you guys have in Reno, where they have these programs where they're developing for the children. They're not in there lifting weights. They're in there being kids, and they're doing physical things that might include some resistance training, but it's designed for children with the idea in mind. And this is where the coaches come into play, where we understand that the kids don't sweat the same as adults. The kids' ability to create intensity in aerobic situations or anaerobic situations might be different than the adults. So you have to take a different pace toward that. Your exercise repetitions for your 12s, 13s, 14-year-olds when they're in the gyms, it's not 5 reps as heavy as you can get. It should be moderate systems of weight and resistance, and the zones of repetition, how many sets, maybe 1 to 2 sets of, 8 to 10 reps types of things for the strength and the conditioning side of things, or the endurance. You really don't want to be going way over 20 for the children, and you want to do it in increments or segments. You don't want them training for 60 minutes in endurance. You might want to think more of 20 with a rest, because the body doesn't respond the same. Their breathing is different because they're developing. They're sweating. The cooling off of the body is different because they're developing. And if you can understand that, great. Let's put a program together for your kid. As parents, all you got to do is ask us. We'll give you our best ideas, or go online, go to vitalitywellness.com and see what's available for these kids. Some of the stuff we're going to be putting online here in Fitness for 10 on our YouTube channel or the Parkway Club, we're going to have that stuff available for the children so that they can be properly trained. We don't have to worry if they're getting all their educational classes or physical education classes in school. We have the ability to get them there. Sports programs are recognizing this, Steve. They're inviting us into their facilities. They're hiring us as coaches to just focus on that side. One of the baseball programs that we worked with, it wasn't baseball-driven fitness. It was total body fitness to create a better moving body so that they'll be more successful in those sports. We've kind of moved away from it. You just have to know the ups and downs of those kids, but get them back in there.
It's just making me think of my childhood, just some of the stuff we're talking about. And we say, parents, and now we say it, kids aren't the same these days. But we had to figure out something to do, which was actually to our advantage, even though we didn't know. I'd ride my bike to the rec center, the public pool. I wasn't riding my bike there to swim laps. I was riding my bike there to play in the pool. And then I'd get out and I'd play ping pong. And I remember we played this little game. It was kind of like pool, but you use checkers, and you hit the checkers with a little stick and try to knock them into these pockets. Is that vigorous? No. Ping pong is probably not vigorous. And I wasn't going to swim laps in the pool, but I rode my bike there, and that was, I don't know, 3 miles maybe, and rode it back, and it was hilly where I grew up. I was burning a lot of energy, but that wasn't my focus. I was exercising, I was active, but that was not my focus. My focus was fun. I'm going to go play the little checker thing. I'm going to play some ping pong, and I'm going to play in the pool. We're going to get in the pool, and we're going to throw a ball around, and we're going to dive. We're going to jump off the side of the pool and try to catch the ball. We were playing. We weren't exercising. And what do kids do now? I mean, I don't know. Video games is one thing I know that they do. We didn't have phones. Just things are different now. And I think what you're talking about is trying to do some things to get kids active that's fun for them.
Get them back into it. And it doesn't have to be these long duration workouts like you might see me in here for an hour and a half lifting weights. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about getting them physical in their movement again. And we can do that. And we can definitely help that as coaches, but it's even easier than that. And then when people are taking a look at what we're discussing today, shoot us a message. You want more information? Let us know. We'll help you get there with your kids. It's free if you want to do it in that realm. If you want to coach, obviously there's something you're going to have to do with us here if you have coaches. But we can bring kids in. We can do that. There are programs available in your community. If you need us to help find those, we can help you find them. It's there. It's available. And it's a different world too, Steve. I think, parents are finding out, and it's getting expensive in life. They're finding out that they do have to work more hours, that they do have to have multiple jobs, that both parents are working. They don't always have somebody there with the children all the time. Well, maybe we have that option. They spend an hour in a program somewhere. That's going to give the parents a break to really go get dinner set up and get back and go pick them up, because they're with quality coaches doing something better than sitting around playing a game. Not saying games are bad, because I think kids have a lot of fun and enjoyment with them, but let's get them physical again. Let's get back to health.
Yeah, it's really important. Get your kid in a sport. What do they like? Usually, at a young age, they're going to like some type of sport: volleyball, tennis, soccer, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling. There's all kinds of youth sports out there, and your kid is going to be active in a sport. It just, and I think that it'll make a big difference, because like you said, we didn't have perfect diets when we were kids, but the one thing that was probably a little different is we had to be active because there was nothing else to do. Kids want to have fun. They can have fun sitting in a chair now, but we couldn't do that. Heck, you could barely even watch TV when I was a kid. It depends on how good your rabbit ears were.
Right. I could never get the channel to stop because that crossbar on the thing, I could never get the right channel to stop. We only had like 3 channels.
Yeah, that's too fuzzy, and it's doing those lines where it's, remember that? It just keep rolling.
Yeah.
And we would watch it, but I'm not going to watch it all day. This is boring. I'm sick of watching the lines go up and down, go around on the TV.
Yeah.
When it's fuzzy, I'm going to go ride my bike to the store and buy candy. At least I had to ride my bike to what we called the liquor store down at the corner to buy the candy bar. I had to ride my bike there. I couldn't order it online, and they just delivered it right to my door. I'm gonna get Uber to deliver me the pie.
Yeah.
Couldn't do that back then.
Had to go get it. Right.
Yeah. So I would just encourage all you parents out there to start with that. Getting your kid to eat broccoli is probably going to be a harder task than getting them to just go do a sport, something that they think is fun. So I'm certainly not saying I have all the answers. It's difficult out there in today's world, but if you can get them in a sport, that's great. Any last words, Brian?
Hey, we don't have all the answers, and there is a lot out there in this world. Give us a try. Let us know what you need help with. We'll help you to work with your own kids.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Like the video, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thanks for being with us, Brian.
Take care, everybody.